Namaskar and welcome. My name is Shashwat, and we are today at the Azim Premji University for a very interesting discussion on the life and times of one of the greatest social reformers, or I must say, the greatest pair of social reformers of 19th century India, Savitribai Phule and Jyotirao Phule. We have been very fortunate to uh, organize a play enactment of Savitribai's life by noted playwright Sushma Deshpande. And we have been enacting that play in many places over the years, but now we have an English rendition of this play enacted by Nandita Patkar. So we are very lucky to have both of them here to have a discussion on the life and times of Savitribai Phule and Jyotirao Phule. Thank you so much, Sushma ji and Nandita.
It's pleasure.
If I were to just start, what would you say would be the genesis of this play? How did this play come into being? If I were to start with you, Sushma ji, and its relevance and context in modern times.
Basically, I was reading about Savitribai Phule because I was a journalist that time, and just I was studying her life, how she lived, and other things. We don't have much material available, particularly about Savitri. Like we know a lot of things which Jyotiba has written, but we don't have much about Savitri. So I was reading that. Professor Ram Bapat was my guide in that, and he used to give me books. We used to discuss about the books. That was the usual thing. That time I never thought of doing theatre, but while discussion, something happened when rape case happened in Pune, and after our discussion with Professor Bapat, I asked him what would have been Savitri has taken the action about this rape case. And that point was the form clicked in my mind. And I said, sir, this is a theatre form. Savitribai will talk about history, her life, and she will comment on contemporary situation. This is a theatre form. And sir, being sir, he was a good listener, and he started asking small questions to me. Which made me to have a dialogue, my dialogue with myself. And in that meeting, when I clicked this form particularly, it was clear how I will write the script and those things. So I decided to write the script. That was the beginning process. So I was reading. At one point, I wrote the script. Another incident happened. I went to Delhi because I came to know about some of the Dinabandhu issues are there, which is published in those days, 19th century. So many things which Jyotirao Phule and Savitribai Phule Satyashodhak Samaj, they have done the work. So it was printed in that Dinabandhu issue. So I went to Nehru Library there in Delhi to see those. We have a microfilming of those issues. So I was reading that and meeting different people from Delhi like that. I could meet Madhuli Mayaji. He was alive that time. And Madhuli Mayaji asked me, I came to know that you are going to write a theatre. So I said, yeah. So why you are behaving as if you are a PhD student? Write the script, start it. If you will get some more information, add in afterwards. There is no need to stop for writing that till I will not finish my research. Till then, I am not going to write. Don't take such thinking process. Change your mind and start writing it. And I thought a person like Madhuli Mae, was a studied person, and he is saying this, so what he's saying is right. And then I wrote the script. And so when this form came into my mind, because I was attached to theatre, I was doing theatre in those days, means till today. Those days means from my young life, college girl, from that time I was doing theatre, and I was aware that I like theatre very much. So I was supposed to do that. So like that, this process happened.
Wonderful. Ma'am, if I were to ask you just quickly, how has the script evolved from the one that you'd originally written 3 decades ago to the one that is now? Because you also say it's in a way a living script. You are integrating elements of contemporary times into it. So how would you describe the script of the play has evolved over the ages?
Basically, when I wrote it, I think it was a complete script, I can say. But when I look at the script as a director, I edited some of the portion because some interest of Sushma Deshpande was there, which was not needed for Savitri's life. Like the women in those days, they meet and they discuss something. These type of the scenes were there in the play. But other things, uh, some information you get about the research thing that I added afterwards. Fatima Sheikh and Usman Bhai Sheikh is brother and sister. When Jyotirao Phule left house and there was no place to live for them, so this brother and sister, they gave the place to live. For few months they stayed there. So this information we got afterwards. So that I added particularly in that.
Sheikh's friends and their wives stood firmly by our side. Saraswati Bai Go one day spent that entire day with me. The siblings, Fatima Sheikh and Usman Bhai Sheikh, provided us shelter in their own house. Mansas mansana martyat and mansas mansana tartyat. It's the people who kill and it's the people who save.
Then when some of the people murders things happened in Maharashtra, Karnataka, many places. So that time I was thinking about what happened when Jyotirao Phule some marekari, murder. What is the word for marekari? I don't know.
What do you say?
So
people were paid to murder him.
Yes. Assassins, assassins.
Hired assassins.
So they were this happened in those days also, but they did not did that murder, and they became a follower of Satyashodak Samaj, and they started education and everything at night school. One became his bodyguard, and another became he has written the book about this Ved, and Vedachar is the title of that book. So so I thought I have to comment on this. In those days this happened, but where is the thought today? What is happening? So small changes like this happened slowly, but not much change script. Sometimes I feel that I wrote in those days, but till today same things are happening, and that is something sometimes shocking.
Which is very, that's true, because
it's still relevant.
Because when we were seeing the play also, the issues that were there in the 19th century India, while we might have we have been gifted with a very sound constitution and rules and laws and everything, but at some stage those divisions, and they're still very much there in our society at some point, and that message is very much relevant in that sense. So that's interesting. Nandita, speaking about you are acting in television, films and everything. Theatre as a medium for you, and most importantly, how and when were you introduced to Savitribai Phule?
I started working with Sushma Tai since 2010. So we were doing this play called Baya Darughad, which was all about the female saints of Maharashtra. Like people know about Tukaram, Namdev, but they don't know about the women in their families. How did they deal with the situation? So it was all about these women, the women saints in Maharashtra. So that's when I met Sushma Tai, and from that time onwards, that association has continued. Also, even before that, I knew about Vayam Savitribai Phule, that she was performing. So she's always known for that. And her film Umbartha. So I was very small when I had seen that film. So I just remembered her immediately. Oh, she's from. So from then onwards, we started working, and so there are many plays that we did together. And in between also, I had asked her for the script, but probably I was not prepared by then, because she easily sent the script that, yeah, you can do it. But then I still have it in my mailbox, but probably I was not prepared to do it. And after that, but in between we did many plays, which kind of Ramu Ramanathan. So he always says this, that this was like the kind of plays that we have done with Sushma Tai have been a building foundation, preparing us to portray Savitri. So the other girls also who are performing in Hindi and Marathi, they also have been part of the other plays that we have all done together. So he always says this, that this was like a building block for all of us, a preparing foundation. So after that, after doing television, I was doing television for around 3.5 years. And so in that period, I couldn't do theatre at all. So after that, once that project was over, I asked Sushma Tai if we can do something. And what better than Savitri? And fortunately, at that time, she had an English translation of the script. And we said that, okay, let's try English Savitri. So that was a very challenging thing. But yeah, after television, something which would just push your limits. That was what I got.
No. So tell me one thing. With the Sushma ji as the original Savitri in that sense, and is it intimidating for you as an actor, and she being the director as well?
With the long association, no. We all of us look at her as a mentor, and so it's not intimidating because she is so open with everything, with all the changes that we want to do. She just explains. The best part of her as a director is that she just explains you the situation. She doesn't tell you how to do it. You have to apply your own intelligence to do it. Then if we are going wrong, she will tell you how to do it. So it isn't intimidating, and it's fun to I don't know, maybe when we were doing Savitri in English, she found a lot of places, because when she was setting up the play herself, there was no one to direct. She was doing it herself. So now she could see someone else playing it, and then she could implement, oh, this is how it looks. And so it was fun. It was a fun process, but it wasn't intimidating.
No, it wasn't. Okay, now the translation from, say, Marathi to Hindi to English to many other languages. In fact, Savitri is now, I must say, running in many different places, in different forms and different languages, connecting to a lot of people. How challenging was this aspect of translation? And I love the way that when you introduced the play, you said that
आता English is not my mother tongue, but still, I will try to speak in English with all of you.
it might be odd, but this is how it is, and this is, she's speaking in a tongue, so it might not be perfect, and
Yeah.
this is how she would speak possibly if she were to speak that way, Savitri. So this format, how seamlessly it was done. What was the process about it, ma'am?
Basically, when I did it in Hindi, I would like to share that experience. One of my friend asked me that I will help you in that Hindi translation, and he gave somebody to translate it. When I read it, I felt strongly that this is Hindi Savitri. This is not a Marathi woman who is talking Hindi. So I was thinking what to do. I was not understanding exactly how to go about it. But I could meet Vijay Tendulkar, well-known theatre writer of Maharashtra, particularly Marathi. So once I met him and he asked me, I came to know that you are going to do it in Hindi. So I mentioned him that the translation issue is very tough. So I don't know what to do. So then he said, you do it. So I said, why I? So he said that I don't know that much Hindi. So he said, that's the thing. You don't know the Hindi. So you will do it wrongly. And that thing should be there. Savitri will not speak very smooth Hindi. So this was happened before. So then I did it on my own with some help of a woman, Anita Kelkar, who knows Hindi better. And so few words I used to ask her, and jajki is a word for the delivery. So what to say about delivery? So we have to use word jajki. So this type of the words also I don't know. So she helped in that, and we did Hindi translation. I was doing a lot of Hindi performances also. When it came to English particularly, Shanta Gokhale has translated it in English. because there is a one lady, C.S. Lakshmi. She runs one organization, Sparrow. They do the documentation of women artists particularly. So she documented the thing and she asked Shanta to translate it. She documented the process. So the script was available in that manner. When I started reading that with Nandita, I could understand this is not possible to take this script, complete script. We need to work on it. And we have to create a play script because the rhythm of language should be Marathi, but it should be in English.
Yeah.
So that we have to do. Then only it will be the right thing. So one young girl of age, I think 23 that
25.
time. Now
Oh,
she's
she's now
25. So I asked her because I was aware about her education, her interest and those things. So she said, yes, I will come. And we went sentence by sentence. What should be so how the rhythm will go, what should be the verb here, these small things. And Shanta's script was there for what you can say, the basic reference work. So it helped a lot. And so we could create the proper script. That was, I think, biggest challenge, particularly first. And that English should be very simple English, not very complicated verbs like that. Means many times I ask her, I don't like this. Sounding is different. So she gave another verb. Like that, we sentence by sentence we did the whole script. And so after we got script ready, Nandita started doing the rehearsals. We both started rehearsals, and it was comparatively easy to grasp that English.
Yeah.
But I think it was not that much easy. When Nandita to learn English by heart and doing it in this rhythm was not very easy job. But she has took that challenge very positively and she did it.
Yeah, in fact, a lot of people were complimenting at the play that how does she remember the whole the script so well. And not only were you mapping the performances, you're changing your persona for each of these characters, but also changing your tone, tenor, and not forgetting the lines. So if I were to ask you, what according to you has been the biggest challenge of enacting or being Savitribai in that sense?
In this whole process, the biggest challenge was emoting in English. Because the whole thing is in Marathi. Marathi, I know the emotions very well. And Marathi being my language also, it's very easy for me to get those emotions. But keeping the same emotions and doing it in English and giving out the same emotions was the biggest challenge. I think that's where, that Marathi accent helped, or adding those Marathi words or things like that. So I used to think in Marathi, and then I kept this in mind, how a Marathi lady would speak English, and she wouldn't try to give it an accent or things like that. She will have her own Marathi accent to that English. Or even Savitribai, if in those days, how would she speak English? It wouldn't be very polished or things like that. Yeah. So, and I tried to keep those emotions. The emotions was something that I held on to, which was very difficult. It was like managing the thing in English and emoting in Marathi, or basically giving those emotions. So that was my biggest challenge. But I think slowly it just got into me.
Yeah. And so to all those people who are surprised about the fact that you could memorize the whole script like this, what tips will you give to them? I'm sure they would love to have some tips from you.
That's what people ask every time. But no, I had a tough time memorizing because but she was very patient with me. We used to take every 10 pages every day. Just do, let's start with 10 pages. taking small steps. It was that way. Just 10 pages every day. Let's do this. Let's fine tune this, then move on to the next 10 pages. And then slowly, then compiling the whole thing. And it was a process. And obviously, it's not a one-day job. It has taken us 2 months to set up the whole thing. 2 months to almost 2 months to set up the whole thing. So with lot of rehearsals, and even after memorizing the whole thing, it takes a lot of stamina, it takes a lot of energy. I didn't realize that while memorizing the whole thing. But when we actually stood on stage and started doing it, that time I realized that I'm short of energy or short of stamina. So basically rehearsing the whole thing every day, because with the movements, remembering the lines, emoting everything was a task. And this was my first experience of a solo performance, a complete 2-hour solo performance. So the rehearsals is what is the only key to the whole thing, which we did a lot. And that's how this whole thing should.
I also must compliment you, when you were enacting this play. Before this play, you seem to be in a total different zone. Your persona and personality completely changes when you're there in the arc lights, and you're a different person. And so, how does this transition? And within the play itself, you're playing Jyotiba as well. I see when you're enacting Jyotiba, your shoulder broadens up a bit, and you take that stance. Those nuances. How was those nuances integrated, and how much work did it take? I'm just curious.
I just kept finding small things as and when how the shows kept happening. There were many things Sushma Tai told me during the rehearsal, that this is how she should sit. Or there's a small thing when Savitri says that when Radha comes and tells that both of you are here, whom should I ask?
Yes.
So she blushed and ran away is my last sentence. So I just turn around and see that she is going. And then Sushma Tai told me a very small thing. Now turn again back to the original stage, just to show the time lapse that, okay, there's some time gone by. And then I say that even though we were living our lives by going against the social, so there's some time difference, there's some time that has gone by. So these are the small things which she told me, that through our body language we have to show. Even the age difference, there is a point where initially Savitri used to sit down and Jyotiba used to sit up.
Okay.
And they talk like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
They talk like that. But after a period of time, when they have worked together for a long time, there is a point when they both come, when Jyotiba is sitting here and Savitri comes and sits next to him. So they have come at one level. So these are the small things that she implemented in it. And so I started finding those things. And even while doing those characters, it's just trying to adding a little nuances, just to that they look different from each other.
Of course.
Because there are so many characters in it.
Yes.
So just to make them look different, so just adding something, someone is limping, someone is just bent, or just adding a little tone to it. So this came in the process, finding out new things.
No, I remember there's Jyotiba's father, the conversation that he has, right? When he's sitting in, he's constantly.
That's what Sushma Tai again told me, that he is old and now they have these knee problems, so he will keep doing this to his knees, so that that okay, he's troubled and he's now tired and of the whole thing is just pressing his knees. So these are the small things that she implemented in the whole thing.
Sushma ji, in your case, when the play originally in Marathi, it went to Hindi, which you were doing as well, and now in English. How do you feel about the fact that the message of Savitri has been broadening, reaching out to newer audiences? And do you think this conversion has really helped in that?
Yeah, it is helping a lot. One Bengali girl, Rutuparna Bishwas, is doing in Bengali. And to her, I told her that this is script. You can do as you want. Means I was not supposed to go and direct her. So you decide what exactly you want to do. So she is doing in Bengali, but she said that I can't say I am Savitribai Phule. So she had changed in her own way. And she's telling Savitri's story like that she does. So in Bengal, she's doing a lot of performances, and she's a very fine actress of Bengal. So she's doing even outside Bengal also some of the places, like Bangladesh and like that. So she's doing, so naturally people come to know about Savitri and Jyotiba's life and what they thought and those all things. One small girl Adivasi girl is doing it now in Adivasi Pauri language. And so those Pauri language girls, they can understand fast exactly what Savitri did. So it helps like that. Aditi Desai has done in Gujarati. So different people have done the performances in their own manner, and they are doing. Pauri girl, her funny thing that she saw many performances, and she tries to catch exactly what I used to do that. So she's doing like that only. So it's very interesting that because of this language barrier, people can understand very easily.
Mhm.
If I would have been done in Marathi, they would have been grasped little bit. But in their own language, it helps more.
Yeah. So there's so many Savitris in so many languages.
And so English, when Nandita asked me, can I do it in English? I said, yes, why not? Means, anyone can do it. So that's my always idea. So you can do it, no problem about it. The reason behind it, whenever I went to some of the conferences and I performed in Hindi, there is a belt in India. The people don't speak uh, Hindi also.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Sure.
they are very happy that if you are doing in English.
Yeah.
And today's language has become English now.
Yes.
Means all children, they speak more English than their own mother tongue. So for them also, college going students, that is also, this is very interesting thing to do in English. So different languages helps to understand different people, and they understand about the living entities of our country of 19th century, what exactly they did. So it's great fun.
Yeah. So I would just now coming back to, in this times of chat GPT and OTT for that matter, the relevance of theater, and especially for something as crucial as this, what are your views on that?
I think theater, since being a live art form, is still there. The magic still is there. But yeah, with OTT, the audience has reduced a lot. It becomes very difficult to get them to the theater. Once they are there, they will enjoy. But then with OTT, you have write it right in your mobile. It's so easy. You don't have to travel anywhere to go and see it. It becomes a little difficult. But I think theater has its own magic.
Yeah. Yes.
No, but I can say in Bangalore, people came for the performances,
Yeah.
and they appreciated it. When people come to theater, they love it more than on TV or more than on mobile and like that. So yes, that is there are some issues, but we performed for Saint Xavier College, and
Yeah.
we have a very positive response. Youngsters, the way they
Yeah.
were asking questions and those things, so very positive reactions we are getting through the performances, and slowly it will pick up in English language. So people are curious about the subject and performance also. And like we have done performances in well-known all theaters in Mumbai, and we got the houseful shows there
Yeah.
in NCPA, in NMSCC. So positive responses we are getting.
And also, not many people know about. Although we have read about it in our school books,
Yeah.
but people still don't know about the kind of work. They know Savitribai Jyotirao Phule, but the kind of work they have done, people really don't know about it. So when they see the play, many people come up with these reactions that yeah, there were a few chapters in our textbook, but then the kind of work that they have done in depth, we came to know because of the play. There are so many areas that they have worked in.
No, one of the most interesting aspects of the play per se for me as a viewer was also the fact that, while we might know the relevance, social relevance of the work that they've done, but this interplay of relationship between Savitribai and Jyotiba, I think so. The play beautifully brings out this relationship about, the very act of that, the when you start with the Shetji thing, right? The how she's naming it, and how there's a give and take.
Shetji, my Shetji, came forward and said to I, don't scold her. So what if she's a girl? The insect will bite her as well. Go, find out what's in her sari. I stumbled into the next room with my sari trailing behind.
So it seems like a relationship of equals, which is very interesting, and especially in those times when we were living in. So this interplay, how did you manage, Sushma?
Basically, I will give all credit to Professor Ram Bapat, because the way he has discussed with me and the way he has asked questions when I was reading the things, that is his contribution. He told me that don't look at them as a Mahatma or something great people of our history. Look at them as a human being like you and me. So you have to think like this, that I have faced it. What is the situation? So I could understand them as a human being, and I always tell in the beginning of the performance that I'm sharing their life, not how they became Mahatma, but how they live. So naturally, when you understand this type of the things through your reading and discussing the subject, it helped like that. Means you understand human beings, so you understand relationship also. Means I remember when we were talking about the people gave quite a trouble to Savitri when she started going to school. Yes. So, what would have been her reaction? Sir asked me. There are few books in which they have glorified the thing that Savitri slapped the who came forward. So, sir asked me, will it happen there? What do you think? So then what exactly the situation was that time? So he gave me the books to read, what social strata was thinking and what was the exactly discussions were going about women and other things. So naturally, you understand dialogue slowly you understand that human being, how would have been talked, how would have she has been talked. So small dialogues started coming to your mind. And I think when you think about a human being, you understand it with relationships and those small things. Like Jyotiba was a very, in a way, hot tempered. He used to get very fast and he used to react on the situation. And he was a person who has taken the action directly. Yeah. Means left the house. When there was an appeal from his father that you have to leave the school, and if you're not ready, leave the house. Means yeah. He was under pressure. So he left the house. I'm not going to give up the education. So this type of there was no thinking about it. So many actions he has taken like this, that he explained why I'm taking this action. But first action and then telling about the thought behind it. So naturally, that is the thing which he has done. So Savitri was in the beginning a typical Indian woman who will stand with husband. But it's not very easy to stand with such husband, no? Yeah. Means taking those situations and started working with him is not at all an easy job. Means so what would have been the situation of her childhood? So she must be a very smart, very who used to be roaming around in the farm, and like this girl. So like that, it created images in your mind. What exactly the how they live and how they face the situation and those things. And in the facing of the situation in social level, you get this feeling that they were together. That was their courage. So, like that, then writing script was not very tough job.
Yeah, and it was humanizing. That aspect is. If I were to just ask you, you have been almost living Savitribai Phule's life through her works and this play itself. What aspects of her life inspires you the most, and what are those things that that you really, even today at these times, you feel like amazed by?
I like the way that she has like Sushma Tai said, that obviously she had that spark in her, because of which, later on she started working equally with Jyotirao Phule. But initially she was not the kind. She was not. She did not marry Jyotirao Phule with any kind of mindset. She was just in love with him, and but the way she has grown with him, and the way then she has the kind of work that she has done. Hand in hand with Jyotirao Phule is what really inspires me, because she has changed herself along with him. Also, obviously, being with that kind of man, she was also forced to change, maybe, or maybe she was so much in love with him that she's willingly done it. And later on, she's totally like she said that initially she used to just do it to gain his appreciation, but later on, she also fell in love with reading and writing and the kind of work that he kept doing. So I love the way that she has changed herself and then grown to become what she is today. And because of her today, we are in every field. Women are there in every field. It's not just education, it's in media, it's everywhere. So I think we are always forever grateful for what she's done. And whatever little we can take from her is always.
Well, I would like to tell you my experience when Mallika saw performs, Mallika Sarabhai. She organized first Hindi performance at Darpana. And after the performance, she said, "This is a love story of Jyotiba and Savitri." Means, why you are discussing some social things you are going to tell? This is completely love story of Jyotiba and Savitri, which is true. Like Saint Xavier's students also, after the performance, was talking that about their love, and so people could understand that.
Yes. Well, and I was just thinking, amongst all the, if you were to say, the stalwarts of Indians in the 19th and the 20th century, you have Jyotiba Phule and Savitribai is a very unique way because of the partnership of individuals. You don't, Kasturba doesn't stand in the same way with, Mahatma Gandhi in that way, or you don't know who was with, Lokmanya Tilak's wife or that way. We don't, those, they have been in the shadows. But I think so Savitri is the only time where you have someone standing shoulder to shoulder. So I think that there's a lot of, while we discuss about Jyotiba's output as a, someone who was fighting against the injustices of the caste system and everything, his feminism should also be really appreciated in that, a very staunch person who's promoting that. And that kind of relevance in our times is very interesting.
Yeah, that's true.
If I were to now look at from that time, from the depiction and the status of women in the 19th and the 20th century India to now, how relevant would you say the messaging would be still today for today's women and today's men as well?
It is very
why
relevant.
should it be only to women?
It is very relevant. That's the reason why, there are in the barber's case.
And so you make others suffer too. Tell me one thing. If you say no, will the fathers and brothers of the widows shave their heads themselves? Will they do so? We do understand and agree to whatever you're saying. That's the reason why every barber must put his razor down.
I love doing that part somehow because where she questions that even today a man becomes apprehensive and told to think about women's needs. But these barbers didn't even think twice, because when it comes to women's needs today, people are still apprehensive, and they are, although there is a lot of talk about feminism and things like that, but I don't think it's that active yet. But whereas in that time, Jyotiba himself said that, questioning his father-in-law, saying that, how do you know that there isn't something wrong with me? No, it's a very big thing to say.
To have a biological child.
Yeah. So I think it's very relevant today itself.
Yeah.
Means I have performed a lot of performances for Azim Premji Foundation. And what I appreciated that time also, I have written in my one of the articles also that many men were there for the performances. Usually what happened in Maharashtra people think like this is something about women. So why should we be there for the performance? But Azim Premji Foundation has taken that particular thing in their mind. And I remember for some of the performance, very few women, but a lot of men were there. They appreciated the play. And that is the, I think, needed. Men also should see the performance. Like in Marathi, there is one phrase we say that सावित्री आहे घरोघरी पण ज्योतिबाचा शोध जारी. So you don't meet more Jyotiba. But in rural sector, any rural sector, not only of Maharashtra, anywhere all over India, you give little bit to them, those women, the way they get charged and the way they learn is something fantastic. So I think men should also see the performance and they
Yes,
should
ma'am.
understand.
And just you have been performing over the years.
Yeah.
If you can tell us some of the different places that you've been, some of the instances that some interesting anecdotes that you might have from places, all these interactions with people.
We will leave about Maharashtra. Out of Maharashtra,
Yes.
we can talk. When I was performing in Delhi, Kamala Bhasin has organized some of the performances over there. So, I remember a lot of Kamala when I was doing this English performance because she would have been a lady who would have been promoted like anything. But that time, one old woman who came forward and she came to me and she said, खून का रिश्ता लगा तेरे सावित्री के साथ. Another lady came there and she said that she asked me, was Jyotiba used to help her in kitchen? So I said, I don't think so because I haven't read like that. Means some of the notebooks I read about Satyashodhak Samaj people have written, but I haven't got any such like that he used to help her. So then she said, then सावित्री पूरी अच्छी लगी, ज्योतिबा आधी ही अच्छी लगी. In Uttarakhand, I was performing. Means in Uttarakhand, one lady, after all Q&A, every time there was a discussion after the performance. After the discussion, she came to me and she told me that, दीदी, सबके सामने नहीं बात कर सकती, लेकिन अब बोलना चाहती हूँ. मैंने बोलो क्या बोलना चाहती है? मैं टीचर हूँ और मैं ठीक ठाक टीचर हूँ, लेकिन ये परफॉर्मेंस देखने के बाद मैं आपको शब्द देती हूँ, बहुत अच्छी टीचर बनूंगी और मेरा काम करूंगी. तो मैं कौन होती हूँ ऐसा कभी कभी मुझे लगता है. बट द वे शी सेड दैट दिस इज माय वर्ड टू सावित्री, दैट आई एम गोइंग टू डू माय जॉब बेटर देन आई एम डूइंग. एक डाइट की बच्ची थी in Janjgir, I think, Azim Premji ka performance. Or after the performance, she came to me, same, all in Hindi, we call Didi. Na? So she asked me that, अंग्रेज आए इसलिए ज्योतिबा सीख गए ना दीदी. तो मैंने पूछा आपको कैसे पता पड़ा? तो प्ले में ही समझता है, तो प्ले से ही समझ गई हूँ मैं. तो अच्छा मैंने हाँ बराबर है, अंग्रेज आए इसलिए ज्योतिबा सीख गए. So because of that, education started for women. Because Jyotiba could learn, so he could think about other things and he started that. So she said that, Didi, बहुत अच्छा हुआ अंग्रेज आए. So that feeling was there that मैं सीख गई क्योंकि ज्योतिबा तब सीखे इसलिए मैं अब सीख रही हूँ. तो बहुत ही डिफरेंट टाइप ऑफ रिएक्शंस लोगों के आते हैं. द वे वीमेन रिएक्ट, द वे मेन रिएक्ट. एक पिथौरागढ़ में मैं परफॉर्मेंस कर रही थी. पिथौरागढ़ नेपाल बॉर्डर, देयर इज अ सेंटर ऑफ अजीम प्रेमजी फाउंडेशन. सो आफ्टर द परफॉर्मेंस, young girl, 15-16, she stood up and she said, I want to say something. So मैंने पूछा बोलो. So she said that, दीदी मेरी दोस्त है, माँ बाप गुजर गए और वो मेरी दोस्त जो स्कूल में थी तो चाचा चाची ने उसको स्कूल से निकाला है, घर काम करने को बोलते हैं. दीदी आप ही कुछ कर सकती है, आप कुछ करो ना, उसको पाठशाला फिर से लाओ ना. तो मैंने फाउंडेशन के लोगों को कहा कि देखो क्या है मैटर. कभी कभी तो मुझे लगता है मैं तो सिंपल सादी औरत तो, लेकिन they expect something like Savitri. I would have been done like that they expect from me. So that is something beyond imagination, the way youngsters, old women, old people, they react. That is something very, very touchy things many happened like in these performances.
Yeah. And for you, Nandita, yeah, this must be live feedback for you, right? Versus say television or where there's no. How has your the reactions that you've got?
We've just performed around, and we have been performing more in the cities.
Yeah.
But yeah, the very fact that people sit for a 2 hours performance, because now with a very short span of attention, with OTT and things like that, the very fact that they sit for 2 hours performance, and after that, many people come and say that, like I told you, that they don't know many things about Savitri and Jyotiba. So for them, two people who have been a few years, who have been there a few years back, have done so much of work, is unbelievable for them. And in spite of the fact that because of Savitri that we are studying today, but still, so they are very grateful to the very fact that they came to know about all these things. And it's more about the girls, because when they come and see such performances, they feel more touched, because even if it is like you said, even the feminism is relevant today, but then even today I find people, men get hurt, the egos are hurt when women question them. So there are so many things that are happening around, and so when you see Jyotiba supporting Savitri in such a way in during throughout the play, so it is a little difficult for them also to digest, but then that's the kind of inspiration they are drawing from the play.
Wonderful. So, Joy, I have this question for you. You have been uh, uh, living the life of Savitri for over 3 decades now. If I were to ask you, what have you got? What have you, given? What has Savitri given to you? And and do you feel responsible?
Savitri gave me everything, I can say. Means, I never thought of the things which I got through Savitri. I always say that you charge for performance, it becomes your living. So people give you money. Means, forget about how much and how means. If I would have been in a commercial theater, it would have been professional theater. It would have been the different thing. Maybe it's different, but this give me a lot of satisfaction. And the way people have a faith in you, it's something which sometimes I get shocked. And like I was looking after one organization, and there some process was going on about particular this foreign funding. So there is a procedure that CBI people come to see the papers of the organization. The person called me on official phone, and I gave her next day timing that you come. So time was decided. When he came to the office, he asked me, "You are the same Sushma Deshpande who is doing the Savitri?" I said yes. So he said that yesterday only I felt, but I was not looking at you personally. So now I saw you and I could meet it. You are the same lady. So I said yeah. So he said, I don't want to see a single paper because you can't do anything like. So this type of the confidence or confidence in faith in me. So you get shock of such things. But people, they say like this. I was in need of some official paper of my own house. And I went to the office, and typical government office, you just can't understand why they have kept paper like this.
Yeah.
That time was a paper was there, not digitalization was there that time. And somebody told me there is a one person, he will take care of the things. If he will say yes, you will get your paper. So he looked at me, and when somebody introduced me, this is the person. So I said, I have some work. You are the same woman who is doing Savitri. So I said, yeah. So sit there. I'll give you a paper. Means without anything. Means people have told me before that few days will go, because again and again you have to go there. You have to say, maybe you have to give money. Doing anything, nothing. Means I was just sitting at a place. He took that paper and gave it to me.
Mm.
That he was the person. This type of the things happened in the life. You get what you can say, the responsibility, different type of a responsibility, and you are not allowed to behave as कैसे भी करो कुछ वो नहीं हो सकता है. You have to be particular, and you have to carry that responsibility. And I think that is a different type of a responsibility. Now she also see that people come and they pouch होते हैं. So they look Savitri in you.
21st century Savitri.
Yeah.
So how is the responsibility that you feel?
Yeah, I mean, I've just started, but the kind of response that I'm seeing, I feel overwhelmed by the whole thing. It's a little awkward at times when people come and touch your feet. And for me, I'm an actor who's performing Savitri. But for them, in those 2 hours, you just transform into Savitri and they come and touch your feet. So it becomes very overwhelming at times. Yeah.
Nandita, I'll ask you as an actor. Take Sushma ma'am's example, right? Savitri is overpowered everything else that she's done. Are you as an actor also worried that the fact that Savitri might just be the one big thing, and you will be recognized as Savitri for a long time?
I'm not worried about it, and I have just started, so I don't know what's happening next. But right now, for me, it has been one of the most challenging projects that I have taken, and it has been a grilling process completely. Even while performing for those 2 hours, it's a grilling thing, because with all the outburst of emotions and everything, it all in those 2 hours is like an outlet for me. So I love I'm loving the whole thing. I don't know what's happening next, because it's just a 13th 14th show. So I'm just enjoying the process right now.
Final coming to the aspect of there's very interesting thing about the play itself is when it's a commentary on the times that were there in the 19th century India, and the kind of the interplay of caste and the divisions that were there. But very interestingly, you don't make it seem as way it was always a clash, because you are constantly taking names about people from, say, the Brahmins also, who are helping Jyotirao in his work. So in that sense, it's a very interesting thing that it was not only about us versus them, which is how most of our discussions today are, you against us, or for us, kind of a thing. But in that sense, in those times when you're in that play that is bringing that thing alive, it's also about a lot of interplay of this. What do you think is, how would you say that is an important aspect of the way we were as individuals and Indians?
Today's situation is very bad, I can say. When I started performance, I was thinking that time that after a few years, I will stop. Means I never thought that time that 36 years I will be performing Savitri. But slowly, now I understand the way situation is changing. The demand of Savitri's performance is more than previous. Means because the way people are now thinking about the caste, about the way they are fighting, like Jyotiba has mentioned that in this all religious people, the way they fight that rede, they fight with each other.
Bulls.
Not bulls, म्हशीच्या ह्याच्यातले म्हणजे ते.
Acha, okay.
So they fight with each other. The way like that, this
Rams,
situation,
okay, yeah.
that the situation is like that. So naturally, yes, situation is completely changed. It is the same today, which Jyotiba has written in his Akhanda. So the way Savitri took stand in those days, it's very tough for women to take such stands now. And so situation is not very good. And so in the performance, I used to now see those all comments which I did in the play, in the contemporary situation, it is not changed, which I have written 36 years back. Means 38 years back, I can say. But the situation is same. Few things I added, but Most of them is the same script I have written in those days. It is not changed. So still history is inspiring. You should learn out of that, their living. And so I think it's very important today also. It's more important today, I think.
Wonderful. And I had a request of you, if possible. I know it's a little. Remember that letter that you read, the child's letter in the play itself, where she talks about religion and the God, and if you can just if you can recall those lines, it's a wonder, because I thought it was a wonderful commentary about the God, that the idea of God that we have.
The Brahmins say that the Vedas are our property. Only we can read them.
This clearly states that we have no scriptures of our own. So, if the Vedas belong to the Brahmins, only they should live according to its teachings. If the Vedas do not belong to us, if we are not allowed to read them, then it means that its religious teachings do not apply to us. Right? So, dear God, pray tell us which of your religion applies to us, so that we may follow its teaching.
This is a true writing of a girl in those days.
She had written an essay.
Those are wonderful lines, Nandita. They're so relevant even in our times today as well. So, just coming to the play itself, I want to know, what is your expectation from the audience itself?
When I started performances, I used to say, now see, there are 500 people.
Yeah.
And I used to say, only one person will start thinking about life of Savitri and Jyotiba, I am happy. Because social change is not very easy job. So one person will start thinking like that. So now I think people look at the performance in this manner. They should understand exactly what the life was and how they fought with the society. It's not easy to fight with society.
Yeah.
Against society, you have to take stand. And the stands which they took was something fantastic. After the death of Jyotiba, the way Savitri led the funeral is not easy job, not at all easy job. Means when I read in a book, notebook of which Satyashodhak Samaj people has written, she led the funeral and she started.
Jai Satya, Adi Satya, Jai Satya, Adi Satya, Jai Satya, Adi Satya.
So husband is died. Because of him, she could learn. And the lady which she is today, that was the situation. And how she thought of Jai Satya, Adi Satya. Means, and how she did that. It's not very easy today. Now girls have started. If there is any boy in the family, then only girl will go for it, funeral, and she will काय म्हणतात त्याला
Light the pyre.
light the pyre. So naturally, the situation is completely different today. But even then, these things we need to learn. Now we need to learn that our responsibility is what exactly our responsibility. There is no comparison in men and women. So you need to learn many things out of their lives.
And your thing, Nanda, just...
And the very fact that they were, like Sushma keeps telling, in the beginning of every show, she always tells this to the audience, that they were ordinary people. Let's not look at them as Mahatma. They started as ordinary people, and the kind of work they did, and that made them Mahatma. So they were people like us who can really start from anywhere. Whatever inspiration they get, whatever motivation they get, and they can start, the spark can be anytime, and you can start anywhere. You don't have to be somebody to start doing a work. So that the very fact that they were ordinary people like us, you look at them as ordinary people and just take action. And like she says that, even if one person is inspired looking at the play, it is worth it. Absolutely.
Wonderful. So thank you.
One thing I want to mention, that when Azim Premji Foundation was doing book of Savitri,
Yes.
that work, Dilip Ranjekar, DKR of university and foundation. So he asked me to look in that book. If there are some mistakes, tell us, like that. He sent me that book. And for the publication thing, he asked me to do the Hindi performance of Savitri that time. To be true, I was not in a mood of doing Hindi performances because you need to do the lines again and many things you have to do. So I said, Dilip, I don't want to do now. So he said, I'm not asking you. You are going to do it. So on the Azim Premji Foundation channel, I want to thank Dilip a lot because he asked me to do this. I could do Savitri's performance in a different state with Azim Premji Foundation because the way they organized is something great. In very small corners, I have done the performances. So it was a very interesting experience. So thanks to Dilip, DKR.
I think so. It's a unique thing. See, was a purpose in Savitri's life. There's a purpose the way you're doing it, and there's a purpose of the foundation itself. So I think so. It's a brilliant matchup for all.
No, when he came for the performance, Nandita's performance, he said that I know you can do it. The reason behind, I have written it. Marathi language, everything is there. Hindi is okay, but so that's fine. But for her, it was very tough, and she has done it. So he was very happy about performance.
So you've got the endorsement. So wonderful. Thank you so much, Sushma ji. Thank you so much, Nandita. It's from Savitri to Savitri, I must say it. And all power to you. And I hope this, as you said, even if a few people, I hope many people are inspired by the life and the message of Jyotirao and Savitri. And we can bring around the genuine change that we really, truly deserve.
Yeah, that's true.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you.